Welcome to Rivals on the Pitch podcast. Welcome everyone, new and old followers. If you're just joining us now for the new year, this is your friendly neighborhood Premier League podcast where we cover game reviews, predictions for the following games, discuss hot topics, transfers, and we also have a fun little game that we play, the mini league, based on predictions of the teams that we follow. My name is Pat, your fellow Arsenal fan, and I'm here with my two friends.
Randy, who's your friendly Scouser, who follows Liverpool.
And Alan, the almighty Spurs fan.
All right. So, as you can tell, hot teams to follow in the Premier League, especially us for the last couple of years. So our podcast does get a little heated sometimes, so it makes for a fun listen. So we hope you stick around. If you've been here since the beginning, thank you so much for your support. And of course, we do have social media. Follow us on Instagram to keep up with the mini league, which we can explain later. And you can give us your hot takes, opinions, anything you want us to discuss, and let's kick it off.
Let's go.
I mean, first off, I gotta say, do you guys have any New Year's resolutions, or, Premier League wise?
To be happy.
You picked the wrong team for that.
I think for that, you have to just rewatch the games if you know you've won.
Right.
And if you've lost, just keep moving. Just keep going about your day.
DVR it. You know what? It's like I mentioned before, the rainy days make the sunny days even brighter. So, when we win, it's going to be euphoric. It's going to be like nothing else. You guys are used to winning, and when we win it, it's going to be the best feeling there is.
We all had our ups and downs, Liverpool, we were on our bad years. Now we're hot again. The same pack could be said with Arsenal. So, we've all been there. That's the thing. We've all been there.
I don't think United would say you were hot.
Doesn't matter what United is.
Oh.
They're right on your tail. You're neck and neck with them.
You're neck and neck with them.
What a game that was, Liverpool and United. Speaking of, should we dive into this past week's games?
Oh, yeah.
All right, so we are going back to Saturday, January 4th. Very early game, 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time, 5:30 a.m. Mountain Time, where our fellow Tottenham supporter Alan is based.
Here at the mountains, the desert and the mountains. Yeah.
So
that's good. No one can hear you cry in the mountains.
Did you get up this early to watch this game?
I did.
You should have went back to bed.
I put my earphones in and watched it quietly and until the sun rose and started cleaning the house around 6:00. So that's good.
But was there any hope for Spurs coming into this? I know you guys were plagued with injuries, and then obviously a little bug going around.
So initially, thinking like, okay, we have a longer rest period. You kind of start thinking, okay, here we go, new year, get some rest. Even though we have a bit of an injury issue going on, we thought we'll go into this game and give it our all, right? But then, shortly or right before this game, it's when all the illness that I feel like a few teams actually gotten affected by it, but
yeah,
there's something going around, and it was like, yeah, we're losing. Archie Gray got affected, Dragusin, Frazier. It was kind of, I think, some of the midfielders too. So once that news broke, it kind of just, not that I'm glad it happened, but when that news broke, it kind of gave you the sense of like, you know what? Let me not hope for anything. Let me just watch, just to watch, And I think that's kind of what,
just to support.
Yeah, that's what the rest of the season feels like. At this point, not that it's a complete loss. I think we should give it all, and I think we are going to make a comeback. But it heavily depends on the rest of the teams and what they're doing to see if where we're laying on the table. It's no longer in our hands. It's out of our hands. It's on other teams and their performances. If it's a big if, especially now, if we can perform and make a comeback, even if we play at the top level that we can, it's still not in our hands. It's in the rest of these teams.
So you're being more realistic now than what you thought was what your prediction was in the beginning, seeing
Yeah,
everything play
it's
out
gonna-
and seeing the teams that we thought weren't going to be doing so well actually performing well, like Nottingham Forest, for example.
Yeah, it's gonna be
Brentford.
rough when we get 4th or 5th, but it's what it is. It is what it is.
I mean,
Who are you going to beat out to get there? That's the question.
Arsenal, Liverpool. After
Your preschoolers are going to be able to get you over the hump?
there's people with leaky roofs out there. Who knows?
oh,
Well,
They
But,
might
check your
just spend,
facility. Maybe your floors are leaky because everyone's injured in your team.
We'll see. We'll see.
Slip and fall accident. They're going to call Morgan and Morgan.
Even though we kind of knew that it was an uphill battle for this match, we actually played very well. Unlike other games, there's actually positives that we could take from this match. The youngsters playing Lucas Bergvall looked really good in the midfield. Brandon Austin, he played a really good game as a goalkeeper. Been in the club for like 9 years. This is the first start, but we kind of just signed a new goalkeeper, so we'll see. We actually played very well. I think this game could have gone either way. I think if Tottenham would have came out with the victory, those 3 points, I don't think anybody could really argue that we didn't deserve it, and I can't argue that Newcastle winning. I can't argue that they deserve it or didn't deserve it. And there's a little bit of questionable calls. That handball was a little bit iffy.
There was multiple. Yeah, there was multiple.
There was a few calls, and the ref was letting what's his name, Burns, the big dude on Newcastle. He got away with some sketchy calls, but at the end of the day, it's you should play well enough to make those decisions. Referee decisions not matter. The one I will say that handball can go either way, but the fact that it bounced off his hand and played to their advantage, I think they should have at least blown the whistle, called that play dead. But who's to say they wouldn't have scored eventually? But
I have to agree with you because this happened to us maybe 2 seasons ago. We were playing away at Manchester United, and that was we were still undefeated. It was very early in the season. I think it was like 8 or 9 games in. We were undefeated. We had I think, near perfect record, and we had scored at Manchester United, and we ended up losing that game. But the first goal that we scored, they called the play back like minutes back and passes back for a handball that barely graced Odegaard's hand, and then they called the goal off because of that. And at that point in time, handballs weren't that serious as they are now, and it seemed like a controversial call at the time, but now it's more of the norm. So if it's the norm now, I think that goal where it touched the Newcastle player's hand should have been called back, should have been reviewed, and should have been canceled.
Especially the position where he had his hand at. It wasn't close to the body. It was he was kind of making himself big, but you could see why it accidentally would hit his hand.
It wasn't an unnatural position, but at the same time, it led to the goal, and they have an advantage for it. They got an advantage for it. The ball would, if his hand wasn't there, the ball would have gotten anywhere near.
No.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. That's another topic. It's just every ref sees it differently. Like you said, if it was a handball or not, you could have seen it gone any either way. But it's just, that's the thing. Referees have to be consistent in these things. You'd probably see that same play in another game, and it's going to be called off or called on. And it's just, they have to be consistent with these handballs.
That should be our New Year's resolution.
That's what I was going to say. That should be
consistent.
You just need robot refs. Yeah, all you need is just robot refs by now at this point,
Yep.
Or just cut everyone's hands off. Let them play, We're going to look like the foosball table.
Oh, you know what? If that were to happen, guess who would have been Champions League champs? Just saying. Wrongful handball call. Yeah. Anyways, that's a different topic.
I thought this was a new year. Why are you looking past here? New year, 2025.
Yeah, don't be remorseful. I thought New Year's resolution. Don't be remorseful.
Yeah.
I did get up early to watch this game, and because I thought that there would be a shower of goals. And funny enough, I was having trouble casting the game to my TV. And when I turned on the game, it was 7 minutes in, and it was already 1-1. I was like, "What the heck?" And then it was such a disappointment to just see basically just one more goal. I was expecting more. Didn't care where they came from, but
yeah. But I mean, I agree. when Solanke scored that little diving header, I thought it was going to be, a goal fest. And then, Anthony Gordon ties it up. But it was an interesting game. But I think you guys, maybe because of your youth and everything, but most of those goals were just on Spurs mistakes. But I was expecting it to be like a closer game, like a 3-4 type of game. I thought it was going to be goals galore, but didn't happen that way. But
we actually had a lot of shots that second half, and I think it's because Newcastle was kind of I don't know if they were trying to sit back and just try to catch us on the counter and try to just see the game out. But that second half, we had a lot of chances, and man, it was a cross by Region, cleared through the center. Nobody had a hand on it or a foot on it. Could have easily gone in. Solanke, I think he missed about 2 headers. Madison, real close shot. We would have just bent a little bit more. It was almost like seeing that ball come off his foot. It was like, oh, this is like that movie ending, like that heroic moment. But the ball just didn't see the back of the net, and it's disappointing. But like I said, once that news broke out that we had some illnesses, we kind of just, like I said, with the rest of the season, you kind of just toss it up and see what happens. And we can't really do much now, but just hope for the best.
But speaking of that, hoping for the best, I know that Spurs picked up the option on another year of Son. What are your thoughts on that? Are you happy he's staying? Or, I mean, because you did discuss that, he's starting to show his age a bit, but I mean, maybe next season will be different. But are you happy with that decision?
Yeah, definitely. Son is one of my favorite players. So seeing him stay at my club is great. He still provides a lot. It's not like he's a completely washed player. He might be a little bit, slower, but you put him in like this game. They put him in the second half, and he made an immediate impact, and that might be the role he plays moving forward. But yeah, no, I'm actually really happy to see that. I wouldn't even mind even another year, but
deserved. It's just 1 year. It's very non-risky, I guess.
Right, and if you're gonna keep Timo, you're gonna keep him. Like, come on, it's not.
Yeah,
He's
the captain. He's the leader on the team. Right. I think that'd be the right thing. Who else are you gonna go for leadership on that team? I can't think of anyone, honestly.
But I really hope that they don't waste this opportunity, because he deserves something. Harry Kane left with nothing. We can't do that to Son. I think he deserves more than that. So we'll see.
We'll get to. I'm sure there will be more movement with everybody's team. So we'll get to that shortly.
Go Spurs.
Go Spurs.
Go Spurs. 2025.
Go Spurs.
Engine.
Well, for now.
We also had Aston Villa hosting Leicester City at home, and Aston Villa take the win, back to winning ways. Like I mentioned before, I think the break from the Champions League have given them a little bit more room to breathe and to play their game without completely exhausting all their players. But is Aston Villa still considered a top 4 potential?
I think
we need more games to see.
5-6. I think they're going to get Europe, but I don't think they're going to be top 4. Not the way they're playing this season, especially with Newcastle catching on fire right now. I think it's going to be tough to get top 4.
Alan, you said you need more games. We're already halfway. How many more do you need?
I need to see more consistency out of them.
Okay.
Because I mean, they've kind of had a loss, win, draw kind of mixture, a good healthy mixture of that. So we'll see.
Yeah, they had a rough patch where I think they didn't win anything for a while.
If they're top 4 by the end of the season, I'll say they're a top 4 team potentially. Yeah,
for this season.
Yeah.
I'll make my predictions then too.
Yeah. if they're still like top 4, like match say like 20 something, I'll say. All right, so then we move on to Bournemouth at home hosting Everton, who try their hardest not to concede, but they still leave away with a loss here. Bournemouth taking it 1-0, and Bournemouth and another hot streak.
Yeah, good on them.
Yeah, it was a nice pass from I'm probably butchering his name, from Kirkes to Brooks. It was a nice. I mean, I didn't even think he hit it well, but it was perfect. Pickford couldn't get it. and that was all you needed. That one goal to get past Pickford, who's been having a good season so far.
Yeah,
Yep.
a late game winner.
There's only so much Pickford can do to keep you in. Eventually, you got to score, or you're going to get scored on, and he got scored on.
Yep, and happy to see Adams, U.S.
Yes,
men's
US.
national. He's back and he's playing well. I mean, he was all over the place. Getting on the ground, tackling, making passes. So happy to see him back out there.
Bournemouth have a low key good recruiting. Like, we give props to like Brighton and
Wolves.
Brentford. I think they've been these last few years. They've been stepping up.
Yeah,
And you got to give credit to Kepa. He's not the best goalkeeper. He was having his rough patch, but he's somewhat reinvigorated his career over there. He's been playing a good coach. He's been showing up.
Do you think he stays or at the end of the season, or is he meant for a bigger team? Because this is really, he had to go somewhere, and he ended up at Bournemouth, leaving Chelsea.
I think he might stay longer.
I
If they don't
agree.
lose too many people and they try to retain this squad, I think he stays.
Depends where they finish, but I agree. I believe he stays. He's playing, and he's playing well so far. So I guess that's a reason to stay. You had your move to Real Madrid, to Chelsea. I think right now he's in a good team. The expectations aren't that high, so it's not going to get that much pressure on him. I think that's what might have messed him up at Chelsea. But I think I would just stay there if I was him.
It's also, you're securing a starting spot every single game, which is what most people look for. I think most players look to be starting every single game. But I think his goal is probably to be Spain's goalkeeper, which I think it's kind of hard, especially with Spain having so many at the moment. Even Raya isn't starting for that team, so it's tough. But yeah, we'll see if he stays or if he goes. It'll be a good one to look for.
You're playing in the best league in the world. Why not?
Yeah, exactly. All right, then we move to Crystal Palace at home hosting Chelsea, who looked like not themselves. I mean, they looked like they were gonna leave with the win here with the Cole Palmer goal. Jadon Sancho assists, which he did kind of a dummy to get past the fullback and past the Cole Palmer, who just
it was a nice little nutmeg. Yeah,
no pressure at all. But at the end, they just couldn't keep up, and Mateta scores the equalizer, 82nd minute. Not much else to do from Chelsea.
Yeah. But I think now you're making it. Now you understand when the coach was like, "We're not a title contender yet." It's starting to show a little bit. I know sometimes we exaggerate when a team gets into a run, but I think he's just being honest. I still think he needs time to build his team, but I mean, they're in the top 4. They're playing well, but again, I did say Crystal Palace is one of those teams that can cause trouble to any team in the league, and they showed it.
Yeah, they can.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're getting their confidence back.
With Chelsea, though, they lost 2 of the last 2 games in the last 5. They've drawn a few. I wonder if the coach. You can't really put it on fatigue, right? Because they have such a large squad. But is the manager? Is he getting figured out? I think all that talk about we're not a competitive. We're not competing for the league. I think that was almost to kind of
take the pressure off.
Yeah, kind of control those expectations, so that people aren't jumping the gun and then they're going for his head when he doesn't win. But at the end of the day, you had a squad that was competing very well,
I mean, he's got great players too.
Yeah, and why would you say you're not, Like I said, the only thing I can think of is you're just trying to do some crowd management, some control damage, So if things don't go your way, you've already said, well, I didn't mention we weren't competing.
I think he wants to keep that underdog mentality.
Yep.
But we know how much money they've sent. We know how many people
are with Chelsea and that money.
$1 billion underdog. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. You should be competing with that type of money spent, that type of squad, how big the squad is and the quality of the squad. I mean, I remember when Liverpool were going for Lavia and all these players, and they all just went to Chelsea. They got whoever they wanted. There's absolutely no excuse. And I think they are where they deserve to be. I mean, top 4, I think this is the absolute minimum. in my opinion. But yeah, it did seem like he was kind of downplaying it so that they could do their thing quietly, and then who knows, maybe sneak in. And this way, it seems like they overachieve.
Yeah, that is true. That makes him look like a hero, like, a good coach, because you weren't supposedly challenging for the title, but you ended up in fourth place or whatever. It's a good look for a first-year coach.
We had a saying in my last job. It was better to under-promise and overachieve than overpromise and underachieve. So
that's right.
That's true.
That's how we kept our clients happy,
Right. This is your last job before you quit to do podcasts, right?
Yeah. Before I became famous. Before I became famous, here in the streets of El Paso, I can't go anywhere because people are like,
before the OnlyFans, right?
So like, is that you? Talk, because I don't know what you look like.
Yeah, because they only know is you crying.
Yeah, all I do is, all right.
I'm a chill guy.
All right. And that's an episode. Oh my God, it's that guy. Yeah,
we should get Matthew McConaughey on the podcast.
All right. Yeah. And that's an episode.
All right, so moving on to the champions, Manchester City at home hosting West Ham, who did or didn't lose their coach. Because what's the real story here?
What I've heard from my source, I'm not going to give any names.
I think your source is us. Whatever we say.
Some little, un pajarito me dijo, But I just think they're discussing it. But they're not happy with how it's going. I think there's a lot of possibilities that he might get canned, but I don't think he got canned yet.
So next game.
Or maybe, we got a long couple days before they play next.
I think.
But supposedly it's supposed to be Graham Potter who's going to take over.
Yeah, that's what I've been hearing too with my sources.
Bring David Moyes back. Come on.
Yeah. I think West Ham kind of shot themselves in the foot by performing well. I think I don't like to call for managers' positions, for them to get fired, because sometimes you got to give them a chance. But I think West Ham, we all expected better from them, and I think when they've constantly been underachieving, and why not try to go for a manager? You upgraded your squad so well, and it just doesn't show whatsoever. And so maybe it was time to put someone in the driver's seat that would keep bringing results. But I think they waited a little too long. They started producing some results, and it looked like the tide was changing for them. But at the end of the day, it was just a little short success.
I think they might have seen how everybody was like firing left and right. I'm like, they were probably like, let's not be like that. Let's give them a little more time. We trust them. But eventually that trust ran out. And I agree. I think they might have waited a little too long.
But we'll see.
But then again, he's only been on the job for I think 8 months or so.
Yeah, that's true. We'll see. I can see this going either way.
Yeah. Yep. You got to give the coach time. It sucks, but lose this season and make a decision in the summer.
Yep. If he stays, we called it before the season started. Listen, episode 1. If he gets fired, we called it episode, I think it was 14. We called it. Either way, we called it.
Just listen to every episode. Every episode.
Yes, and, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Tell your friend. There's a lot of episodes, so get your friends to listen too, so you guys can, do it together.
All right, and moving on to Southampton, who are short of relegation.
Who are still in the league?
They look like they have been hit with 130 charges and point deduction at this point, and they lose 5-0 to Brentford at St. Mary's Stadium, which is Southampton's stadium. At home, they lose to the Brentford. No hope here, right? No hope.
If you doubled their current points, they still would be in 20th in the last spot.
Oh, Lord.
And they don't have a good record. I think they have most of their goals have been conceded because of their mistakes. So that's not a good look for you. You can't win like that. But you got to give credit to Brentford. Wisa and Mbueno are the only 2 goal scorers that are in double digits on the same team. So that's pretty nice. When you got 2 forwards getting you double digits in a season, it's a good look, and you can see by the position they are in the table.
That's the Baldies can do. You guys should hop on.
Aerodynamic.
Yeah.
I'm 21. I still have all my hair.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, didn't you just come from Turkey?
That's Antonio.
But yeah, Southampton have the worst goal difference with negative 32. That's their goal difference. Their goals conceded are 44, goals in favor 12. So yeah, 6 points total. One game won, 3 draw, and 16 loss. So I just there's no hope for them. Even though Leicester City are somehow almost more than double points above them. They're 14th, and they have lost their last 5 games. So are Leicester City also championship bound?
I believe so. I believe the other teams that are in the relegation right now, of course, Southampton for sure. Those teams are going to be the ones relegated. I think Wolves and Crystal Palace, they've found their way, even though Wolves haven't had the best run right now. They just lost 2 games, but I believe those teams with Premier League experience are going to find a way to stay out of it. I wish Ipswich wouldn't go, though. They're playing well. I like those pink jerseys.
Yeah.
But
I wish Wolves would drop so that we can pick their team apart.
Well, they're sitting in that last relegation spot as of now. And we'll see who they lose this winter, because if things aren't looking great for them now, who knows who's convinced for greener grass. I know we have our I think we've all picked at least 2 or 3 players from that team that we're ready to grab.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on to the next game. Brighton at home hosting Arsenal, and it ends in a 1-1 draw.
All right, Pat, tell us what you think. I know you were hitting us up in the group chat. Was that a penalty?
No, absolutely not. I mean, I'll tell you this much. In the Tottenham game against Newcastle, I think it was Gordon who gets just absolutely hammered in the box. He's bleeding like profusely. That looked more of a foul to me than this thing. No, it definitely did. And
he turned into him. This is different.
Listen, both players went for the header and they clashed heads. How many times have you seen players clash heads when there's a corner? Is that ever a penalty?
No,
ever?
One person got headbutted. That's different between clashes.
Yeah, that
was a headbutt.
No, but if I go to kick the ball and you put the ball in front of me, that's a foul because you're preventing me. You're essentially risking a player. So Saliba does get a touch on the ball, so he did head the ball before he hits the other player. So technically,
there was no touch.
Yeah, there was a touch. There was a touch.
I don't think there was.
And that's what this is what I was telling you guys last time. Sometimes they take like. It feels like 10 minutes, which is probably more like 5, where they're literally looking at the toenails of a player to see if they're offside, and they take so long, all these calculations and line, and they zoom in, and you're like, all right, at this point, either give it or don't. Just keep your decision. Like, it's just taking so long. And in this situation, it just literally takes someone who's not a professional, who doesn't have any professional equipment, to show you that Saliba did get a touch on the header. And it was reviewed by VAR, and they don't look if Saliba got a touch or not. It was just so weird. Like, I just feel like they didn't know what to say about it, so there was no way to call it off because they're like, well, I don't really understand the foul, so it wasn't a foul to me. But I will say, Wanieri scores at the 16th minute, fantastic goal, almost like a solo goal. I mean, he ran past a couple players. Rice opens up space for him and he takes the shot. It was fantastic. It was so Saka-like, and unfortunately he comes off injured. And after
Saka-like.
that we just and unfortunately we lost the spark after that. And yeah, I mean, I don't think that we deserved to lose, but this is what you get when you don't secure your wins. I think after we score the first one, we should have gotten the second one before the half. When we come out, you have to get the second one before Brighton hopefully don't score or do score. And then once Brighton do score, you have to go out and get the winner. And at no point did I feel like there was enough urgency. And I think that this is just what we get. You know what I mean? No excuses. I think regardless of our injuries, regardless of the penalty, there has to be something more. And it just wasn't there, and that's on us. Regardless of, like I said, no excuses for the injuries, no excuses for the penalty. This was still in our hands. It's a 1-1 draw. You know what I mean? But
so you said something more, more like goals. So you're meaning a striker, a proper striker.
That
is what you mean, basically.
That is what we mean. Yeah.
And you think you're going to write it out? I mean, the window's open now. I mean, we've discussed this before, but now seeing this and, a lot of, social media, all these commentators and everyone's saying that you guys need a striker.
Yeah.
But you blame it on Arteta for not getting you the striker when that's all you need. Do you see it now?
But
you're somewhat close to the, to make that title run still. There's not, still some space, but you think you need that striker now to make it?
Absolutely. I think if we get like a decent striker, I don't think it's gonna happen, but if we were to get like Gyökeres or Isak, I think we have a chance at the title still. I don't think we will close the gap, but I think we have a very good chance. If Liverpool, depending on how Liverpool do, because it's all in Liverpool's hands, we could be there. You know what I mean? If they slip, we could be there. But if we don't get anybody, I just think at this point it's about securing top 4 and then just see what we can do in the summer, which is where I think most likely we will grab somebody. It's a shame because I totally understand the mentality of like these are your targets, and we have to get either option A, B, or C, and they have to be this price or this price or this price. And if it's not there, then it's not smart business to go for it. I totally get that. But at the same time, it's just like, it's so obvious. If it's so obvious what we need, and there's players that if that's what it costs and that's what you have to spend, just put the money down on the table and get it done. You know what I mean?
And there have been some January buys that have came in clutch.
Yeah.
That came in and turned the team upside down. But I mean, again, you're going to pay way more than you need to be, but sometimes you got to break the bank to do it.
Yep, exactly. Sometimes
you don't know what's going to happen next season. Let's be honest.
Maybe what you need is a striker that doesn't get dropped by a goalkeeper like Jesus did.
Don't worry, Jesus will rise up in 3 more days.
Where's his ankles go? Where
man. It's not the same when you're trying to you're trying to put pressure on the keeper. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. It's completely different than conceding a goal from getting completely sat down. You know what I mean? But yeah, I get it. I don't care. It doesn't. I don't. To me, but I think that's good. I don't care what you look like. You got to put pressure on the keeper, especially because he's a keeper that's made a lot of mistakes, and they highlighted it in the game, and but we couldn't make anything out of it.
But so he's not the answer.
Okay, no. I think. Listen, when we got Zinchenko that one year, and we got Jesus, and then Xhaka started, playing really well. This was the team to improve on. So that means that whatever came in that summer had to bench our players that weren't our absolute starters. Like, obviously, you weren't going to bench Odegaard, you weren't going to bench Saka. Those players you don't bench. But everybody else were players that you could have improved on, so that the team that almost made it gets you over the line. So yeah, getting a player like Kai Havertz, I mean, he's been a decent addition, but he's not what we needed. You know what I mean? If he was like a squad player, if he was someone to rotate or occasionally start in games where you need the height or you need a false 9, great. But it's just been so obvious what we've needed, and it hurts to feel like it was obvious then and it's obvious now, and now it's hurting us, which makes it bad.
And I mean, who would you stick with as your striker out of the ones you have? If we don't,
I mean, right now Jesus has been on fire, so I would start Jesus. I would have Kai Havertz come at the end if we need start crossing the ball in to get a late winner or something. Put the height in. If you're trying to go for a tactical thing, I mean, we played, I think, Kai Havertz for the games against Newcastle and those games they worked out, but it has to be tactical. You know what I mean? He can't be your out and out starter striker, in my opinion.
It must hurt too, because Arsenal is a team that spends. So it's that they're willing to pull the trigger, and it's why aren't you doing it?
I just think we've made a couple sales, and it's it's kind of sad that our record sales it's basically nothing. I mean, 30 mil is that's your record sale. That's sad. So we've only really spent out as much as we've gotten in. I mean, we sold 2 players for 30 mil, and then we got Kai Havertz for 60. So, but there has to be money in the bank. You know what I mean? Spend it.
But I mean, do you feel like you've made a mistake?
Of Declan Rice. Maybe that's what you're paying for it now.
Yeah. The thing is that there's so many years of not spending. That's where Declan Rice came in. You know what I mean? During that year that we chased for it and we came close. Not buying, not spending 120 on Caicedo, saving that money allowed us to, you know what I mean, go for Rice in the summer because you're allotted a certain amount, I'm sure, by the club for every window. And they're like, you could spend 30, 40, 50 now or spend 100 in the summer. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. So,
but then you got to look at it. It's like you rather buy one player for that amount or you want to get like 2 or 3 players for that amount. That's when, taking a look into that.
That's what I'm saying. At this point, I feel like we're at the point of getting one player that's going to make the biggest difference.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's enough. I'm tired of it. You guys bored me. But now this game at the end was just, I know I talked a lot of smack but I think when I'm confident about a game, I won't say anything because I don't want to jinx it. But in this one, I'm not even surprised. I mean, this is so on par with Arsenal this season. I mean, this is like, I don't know how many draws we have now, but this is just like the type of game to go exactly this way. And that doesn't shock me at this point.
Who do you put that blame on? Arteta?
Well, like I said, I mean, it's not excuses, but our spark came off injured and that was that. That was the game. So not having Saka, we don't have anything else to bring. And then I get like we need a striker and it's painfully obvious, but at the same time, there's 11 players on the pitch. Those players got to make it happen. And, we didn't have a lot of rest and stuff like that. So those things affect the game, but it's still no excuse. Like you got to get it done. You know what I mean? So to me, it's everyone's fault. You know what I mean? Everyone's got to step up. I can't blame like Saliba for the penalty really, because it was so weird. Regardless if it was or if it wasn't, like it was totally like just like weird play. You know what I mean? It's almost like an unintentional handball. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think it's on everybody, including Arteta. Like you're supposed to manage these situations, And
whenever things go bad, it's always the coach that gets it.
Yeah, it's because it's not just about their in-game management. The game, the manager, what he does before game. For a manager, you got to look at what they did in the summer. What they've done in the past, because their job isn't just coaching. They're building a squad, they're building a team. So if your transfers aren't, like Pat said, if your transfers aren't on par with what you need and if you're not executing, not filling those gaps in those windows, you'll have performances like this, or you have injuries where you're not able to fill those gaps. The next player up isn't performing the way he should. So like you can't just, with the manager, it's beyond just managing a game. You're managing the team, and that's not just within it's 20, it's those 360 days of the year, right? So
yeah, exactly. I mean, I remember, I don't know if it was last season, we were starting to hit rocky road, and then there was this like trip to, I forget where it was, somewhere
like
exotic,
Normandy or something.
And it was like somewhere exotic, hot for the players to train, and they came back, and then they went on a winning streak. So that's good management right there. And I'm not gonna say you have to do that every time, or it's gonna work every time if you did, but you have to,
give them a pizza party, like how they do it corporate. You get a pizza party instead of
yeah, exactly.
Or get the Space Jam Mike's Magic Water,
There you go. How much is that? Just go on Amazon. But yeah, we'll see. At this, like I said, at this point, I don't think we'll catch up to Liverpool. If something extravagant walks through the door, I'll say, maybe there's a chance, but it's still in Liverpool's hands. So it will depend of if they hit any sort of rough patch. But we'll see.
Leaky roofs.
Yeah, leaky roofs, or losing to worst Manchester United in the last 8 years.
You said losing. You get distracted. Get the facts right. It was a draw. We didn't lose. We only lost once. Okay.
You know what? It's almost like safe to say that the Carabao Cup is going to be
Carabao
Cup. Can't wait to see Tottenham and Newcastle in the finals.
Oh,
you know who said? I think last episode Pat said it was going to be Spurs and Arsenal, but after seeing how they played at home against Newcastle,
I mean, that would be fantastic, wouldn't it?
For you both, but
no,
you guys are still going to be waiting on silverware.
Too much on the line.
Yeah, no, I couldn't do it. I'd rather lose to Newcastle.
It's gonna be welcome to Rival on the Pitch podcast. All right, so let's get into this game. Liverpool at home hosting Manchester United and ends in a 2-2 draw. Completely unexpected. This is the game that everyone said Liverpool would just drown Manchester United in goals, and I think maybe they got a little overconfident. What do you think, Randy?
It's hard to say, but just like an analogy or whatever. Sometimes they say the wounded animal are more dangerous.
Oh, I'm dangerous then.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But good luck. If you saw how the pitch was before, all the snow was covered in snow. I think that might have played something. But I just think
they both played on the same.
Yeah, they both played on snow.
Yeah, we all played. But I'm just saying.
We mustn't forget that it's been raining, so the pitch is quite.
It's been raining.
Yeah.
Are you being serious? It's raining for both teams.
Yeah, I know, but
Oh yeah, it's raining. Yeah, it's raining.
That's a classic.
Hallelujah. But I think just the Martinez goal was it was on Trent Alexander-Arnold. He messed up on that. It was like one of his worst games he played. Defensively, he was horrible. And you can even see Virgil van Dijk gave him that mean mug just like to wake him up a bit. We didn't have the best performance. I mean, I'll give him credit. The goals that Martinez and Diallo scored, they were nice. I don't know. I think it was some mistakes on our end as well that what allowed them to have the draw. But I believed we should have won. That's what everybody was thinking. And we did it to ourselves. So at least we got a point out of it. And hopefully that wakes us up and we can keep on marching. The only good thing is that the teams that were on our tail, they didn't get the results they needed. So we still have a nice cushion. But we can't keep allowing ourselves to do this. We have to be able to win the games that we're supposed to win and, keep pressure on you guys, keep the gap wide open still. It wasn't that good showing for Liverpool. But like I said, at least we got a point out of it. It wasn't a loss. So it's
You're one Harry Maguire miss.
Oh yeah. My heart was in my throat. Oh no.
You don't even know what I was feeling when I saw that.
Could you imagine if Liverpool had lost to 2 goals by center backs in open play? Because the first goal was scored by Martinez, who's a center back. What is he doing all the way in the box? He's literally playing as like number 10 and makes a run in behind.
You can't trust your forwards, I guess. But yeah, that Harry Maguire. Oh, I'm happy he pulled a Harry Maguire on that and shot it over the crossbar.
Did you poop a little bit?
I was close. It was like a little turtle head. Push it back in.
Do you think this has Trent's performance has a lot to do with
the noise?
This transfers, the noise? Yeah, there must be a lot of pressure, but I feel like why would it show up now?
Let's be honest. He knows there's always going to be pressure, but I think it might have got to him. People are always speculating, bugging him. Everyone's in his ear about it. It's a big rivals game. The beginning of January, you're open to do your pre-contracts with other clubs. I think maybe it got to him a bit. Even Arne Slot said, let's be honest, every player has bad games. It just happens to suck that happened with all this commotion about Real Madrid and stuff like that. So it, makes it seem much of a bigger deal than it needs to be. But there's always going to be speculations. But I do feel maybe this is getting to him. Liverpool offering him a contract. We don't know what Trent wants. He says he wants to stay and be club legend. But of course, Real Madrid, that's where his best friend is at, Bellingham.
Or maybe he already signed and that's why he played so bad. Because he's like, how do I tell him? When you when you got bad news and you're just like,
he's not getting his way. He's like, oh, you don't want to pay? Okay, this is what you get. I don't care. I don't really care.
Do it at another game. Don't do it against Man United.
Does he get benched next game?
To be honest, there was I think
you have to be ruthless.
No, Pat. I think you sent me the thing. There was he was dribbled past 30 times. I think he didn't make any tackles, and then when you could put on Connor Bradley for the last few minutes, he already had 2 tackles, and he basically he outshined Trent. But then again, let's be honest, Trent isn't a defender. Yes, he plays right back, but he's not a natural defender. He's more attacking. I think he's meant to be a midfielder or something, but Connor Bradley is a defender. It's just, but he has improved under Slot. The thing is, do you still want to keep improving, or maybe all this commotion of Real Madrid is getting to him? But then again, I have to say that I think this is poor management from the higher ups. This letting your stars get to this point in their contract. I think this should have been discussed. This should have been handled before. Now you have like 6 months to figure something out. I just think it's poor management on their part, but we'll see what will happen.
Or it's player fatigue, and Liverpool's coming into a rude awakening for the rest of this season.
No, I don't believe it's that. Arne Slot has done well with managing his teams. We have Connor Bradley. He can switch him up. We have depth,
But has he?
which is fine.
Because I haven't seen Connor Bradley much.
No,
I
but
see
he
Robertson a lot, considering he's also one to make.
Yeah, Robinson. But then again, I think we're just we didn't buy anyone, but this season, as you guys know. But I think he's seeing what he has, and we've done well with what we have. I think he even said
For now.
about the January transfer window. Liverpool are always going to be looking if it makes sense, but I want like Ange said. I want to trust the players. I got these players that I got. I trust them to, if someone goes down, if someone needs to step up, they will do that. And that's what I like seeing. And I do think we have the players to do that. Joe Gomez is out, but he's going to be back soon. We just got Konate back. Connor Bradley is fit again. Diego Jota is back. So I think we're good on all ends. We just got to, hopefully this little bump in the road reawakens everyone, go firing on all cylinders again, and keep our lead, and hopefully we can keep on.
Pump the brakes. Pump the brakes. You got Spurs midweek. Relax. Relax.
But what Spurs team are you going to put out?
It's surprising.
You guys got the chicken flu. The bird flu.
It doesn't matter because Trent's not showing up anyway, so it's okay.
Doesn't matter. If we got Connor Bradley, you have to worry about more people. Who do we have to worry on your end?
Okay. Don't worry. Oh, you'll be worried.
We last game we were worried. We went to your house and did what?
Yeah, we
that was last year, right? You forgot that?
Oh, you beat our C team. Ooh, congratulations.
And who's going to be playing next game?
Our B team.
You will beat them too.
I do think we got to give Manchester United some credit for this game. I think
Yeah.
I agree.
When I first started watching the game, they kind of looked a little nervous, but almost afraid to make mistakes. And at the same time, that's also good. It means you're alert. And I think they kind of made Liverpool lose their patience because they knew that Liverpool was going to come and press them. And Manchester United said, let's keep the ball, let's pass it around. Let's keep the possession. And worst case scenario, just punt the ball forwards and then have Ahmad and Højlund just make a run behind the defense. And that's what they did. And when they did keep possession enough, it almost seemed like Liverpool was getting a little frustrated, and Manchester United was able to move up the field. And that's how some of the goals came in. It almost seems like they were not prepared for Manchester United to be that far up the field, and they kind of turned off a little bit. I will excuse two players. Van Dijk. I think Van Dijk was the reason that you guys probably didn't lose this game.
I agree.
And also McAllister. I think McAllister could have been man of the match. He was on fire. He was getting in behind the defense. He's making great passes, taking shots. I'll excuse those two players. I think Manchester United came there with a plan and they executed, and they almost walked away with 3 points and caught Liverpool off guard, I think. So good on them. I think they deserve the credit.
And even Bruno said, how come we can't play like this every time? They come into Anfield. It's, one of the hardest stadiums to play in, and they played well. I give them credit.
I thought he was suspended.
No, yeah, I thought he was too, but it was for the previous game that he missed. So he was playing this game, but he was like, how come this Manchester United didn't show up in the other games? We did this in one of the hardest fields to play against our rivals. But I guess that's also falls on him because he's a captain of the team. Let it be known. Motivate your teammates. I believe that falls on him if he wants to keep playing. If they want this Manchester United to keep playing like that. I mean, they played well. I give them credit. They did well. They came and showed up. Credit to them.
They did. It was a good game overall. I enjoyed watching this.
Yeah.
All right. So, and then we had just the last two games. We had Fulham at home hosting Ipswich, and it ends in a 2-2 draw unexpectedly. Ipswich still putting up a fight. They definitely want to stay up. And then we had on Monday, which was yesterday for us, Wolves at home hosting Nottingham Forest, and Nottingham Forest show why they're still top of the table, top 3 at the moment. I think they're sitting on 3rd at the moment.
Yeah, they're in 3rd.
Yeah, Nuno doing the holy work.
Yeah. Gibbs White playing well. He started it, gave it to Alanga, and then Alanga assisted him, and he scored the goal. And of course, Woods doing what he has to do, and he keeps doing it, scoring goals.
Yep.
I didn't expect this from the Wolves, but you're just showing you that Nottingham Forest is here to stay. They ain't pretenders.
I bet Kuna regrets signing that contract, and he's like, "Yeah, I could be a Spurs right now." Oh well, oh well, buddy. Sorry, buddy.
What? How far off?
We'll take Nori.
How far off are Wolves from Spurs? Not that much, I guess.
Yeah, so you can come visit and play for us.
All right, and that's the rest of the game. So
A little bit of transfers.
yeah,
Are you guys rumored with anyone? Are you guys hopeful for anyone? I know we made some moves. We signed a goalkeeper, which I'm not completely upset about. At first I was kind of wondering why, because Fraser's going to come back and he's been playing well, but I think Fraser is going to see the rest of the season out, and I think he'd probably be gone. And now we have someone competing for that first goalkeeping spot and try to compete with Vicario. We ended up signing Kinski from Prague, who actually plays very well. The style that we need, plays out the back.
Yeah,
so I'm actually kind of excited. Yeah, he's very well. I think he has the best passing percentage out of all keepers in the Europa League. So
sweet.
I'm kind of excited to see him play. I hope he's 21. So
he's almost retired.
Yeah. Right. Well, no, goalkeepers are completely opposite.
Oh, yeah.
We got another 8 years before he hits his prime. So, but what about you guys? I know there's a striker actually who's been linked with Tottenham and Arsenal. Mani.
Oh, Kolomani. He's the guy that missed the last goal that was saved at the World Cup final.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I think he'll fit right in at Tottenham.
Oh, he's been underperforming. So I mean, shoot, we got Tino and you got Kai Havertz. So I'm sure
I'd take Kai Havertz over Timo.
Right.
Let's be honest.
But
I mean, we pick up other teams' leftovers, but not even for a loan.
Maybe if it's still the end of the season, I would do that. But otherwise, I don't want leftovers. I don't want PSG's leftovers. They're back to being a nobody.
Yeah, they are.
But I know Arsenal, they inquired about a striker from Botafogo, which is the Brazilian team, and it was rejected actually. So maybe looking to keep him to compete, or probably for more money, knowing that it is Arsenal. But as far as I know, there's been some rumors about Dusan Vlahovic, who's now at Juventus. Previously, I think he was Fiorentina, maybe.
Yeah, he used to be for Fiorentina.
Yeah, so had a great season there. A lot of people were after him, and he decided to go to Juventus. Then later claimed that he never heard about Arsenal being interested in him. He has no idea about it. But yeah, he hasn't had a great of season, but he still seems like he's got the traits that Arsenal are looking for, that kind of target man center forward. I think that's all I've heard so far as far as rumors.
It seems a little slow.
Yeah.
Kind of
it is winter, but yeah, there should be more.
Yeah.
I mean, for Liverpool, it all depends on what happens with the contract negotiation, but I think they have been looking at Kirkes from Bournemouth who's a right back, to come in if need be, if Trent goes. And of course, Robinson, who plays for Fulham, to take over for Robertson, who plays left back.
Robinson for Robertson.
Yes. That's a good trade. I mean, yeah,
I
do think Robertson has been, he has his moments where he hasn't been at his best. I think we also been linked with Marmoush. He's another Egyptian from Frankfurt who's actually been tearing it up in Germany.
Oh, yeah. I think everyone's after him right now.
Yeah,
Arsenal,
I think Man City is after him as well, yeah. But, and then...
Who is it?
Marmoush. He's Egyptian. He plays for Frankfurt.
Oh yes, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sorry I'm butchering his name, but yeah, I know he's been what's it called? With a lot of teams as well. But and then it all depends on what happens with Trent, Virgil, and Salah. But and I think there's even been questions about Darwin even being sent out, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think we're going to have a very slow winter window. Honestly, I think we're going to stay with what we have.
Do you think people are losing their patience with Darwin?
The thing for me, I like Darwin. I actually do. I like the work he puts in, but of course, how much did you pay for him? And he's supposed to be scoring goals, but I like the work that he does off the ball. But I guess it's people are always going to speculate. We pay this much for him, and how much has he scored? He's a striker, and he's not strike. It was the same thing that happened with Roberto Firmino. They were talking about him. It's like, well, he doesn't score, but you see everything else he does. But I guess it's preference. I personally like Darwin. I hope he would stay. I would like to see him have a slot, for a second season to see what would happen. I think he does gel well with the forwards that we have up. Him and Salah, they have a good chemistry. But for me personally, I hope he stays. But it's what depends on what everyone else thinks.
Another one that I just very, very, very recently came out, and if you haven't heard about it, you heard it here first. Rivals on the pitch, exclusive. Yeah.
Breaking news.
But I'm sure you guys have heard that currently all of Manchester United players are up for sale if the price is right, and that includes some of what some fans would consider non-negotiables. Players like Kobe Mainoo, Ahmad, and recent arrivals like Ugarte and Lenny Euro. But if the price is right, they're willing to hear it. But I recently heard...
Where's Drew Carey right now? Come on down and play. The price is right.
I recently heard a rumor for Kobe Mainoo to Chelsea.
Why not? They'll buy everything. Whoever is rumored, they'll buy.
And his little buddy, Cole Palmer, liked the picture of the rumor. Could there be something there? Because this is a discussion online that a lot of people were discussing is Kobe Mainoo has been a standout player for Manchester United. And, he's got to watch people like Mason Mount earn more than double his pay.
Yeah.
And Mason Mount doesn't even play.
He doesn't do jack.
He's the Reece James of Manchester United.
So I don't know. Is this the thing? The thing is too. Chelsea had a little bit of a struggle because they have three defensive midfielders. They have Caicedo, they have Enzo Fernandez, and they have Romeo Lavia. They've all played together, and I think it's worked once maybe. If you play two, and Lavia, I think it's a little bit injury prone. So who knows? Is there anything there? Or
I don't think
I can see it. There. I mean, they have the money to spend, so.
But you're not going to sell to your rival like that. Manchester United wouldn't do that. They would probably sell them outside.
If they come with 100 mil.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, here, I'll pack your bags for you. Get the hell out.
Yeah, for real.
Take we'll throw in Harry Maguire for free.
Yeah. I mean, with that, Amber, we could buy probably half of the Sporting squad.
Yeah.
Sporting United.
Yeah, exactly.
They just went from Ajax to Sporting now. That's how that's what they're doing.
So yeah, that's a hot one right now. So we'll have to keep our ear to the ground. I know we speculated on Marcus Rashford. Did not play
AC Milan
last game. Yeah,
Milan as well. I heard, but I mean, I heard that they can afford to buy. So of course, most likely is they got to sell. Where's Anthony going? That's where everybody wants to know. Where's the fidget spinner going?
Yeah, where's he spinning off to?
Yeah.
Brazil. Well, I don't know. Speaking of Brazil, there's a player that plays in Brazil who's Colombian, who Tottenham is apparently targeting.
How young is he?
24.
Too old for
He ain't going. Yeah, sorry. Pass.
Richard Rios, who had a really good showing here in the Copa America.
Oh, he's a left back, right back?
He's a defensive mid.
Oh, okay. Okay.
The left back, I think that you're thinking Munoz from.
Oh, yes,
Crystal Palace.
You're right. You're right.
I mean, it's kind of exciting to be like, oh, another Colombian, un colombiano aquí. Another reason to support the club. Well, not a reason to support the club, but it's cool to have.
Yeah. Would you get the jersey?
So yeah, there you go. You'll get that.
Yeah, I would.
Okay.
I would.
How about
even if
Randy?
he's bad?
You getting a Robinson jersey?
For America. Why not? America.
America.
why not?
So I had a speaking of transfers, I had a question for you guys. I've been thinking about this because transfers coming up. We're in a rebuild. You guys always talk about how your squad is just one piece away. So I want to see what you guys think, right? In this fictional world we're going to bring into this conversation, you guys can only pick 3 players from your current squad that you would keep moving into your future rebuild. Who would those 3 players be?
Only 3?
Only 3.
Their current age?
No. It's
Just
they're 25 now.
Name.
Like tomorrow, I'm gonna clap. It's like Thanos.
All right.
I'm gonna
Tomorrow
snap.
you have a new coach, and you have to.
You have in your prime, regardless of age.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Player.
snap my fingers, and everyone's gonna disappear except for these 3 players.
Now you have to build a team around that. So what are
Yep.
those 3 players that stay, and you
Yep.
build around? That's tough. That's really tough.
I'll give you mine.
All right. You started
It
off.
was your
then,
question. You already had time to think about it.
I guess I kind of gave age a little bit of a factor.
Yeah. It has to be right because you're building around them. Yeah.
Yeah. So right now,
Forrester.
he's just so big.
Richarlison.
He's so big. He just stands there.
Richarlison. Who else?
It would be Van de Ven,
Okay.
Kulusevski,
Okay.
Solanke.
Wow.
How old is
Romero?
Solanke?
No
Yeah, it's not
Romero.
Romero. But how old is
I thought he
Romero?
was the one who was top 3 in the Premier League. And you're not going to pick him to rebuild?
I think Van de Ven is young. His age played a part in it, and I think Romero. It's
You see his true colors.
I really like him on my team, but he it's almost like he prefers to play for his national team, and it's not bad. But
You only have to choose 3 too.
to build a team off of, I would do Van de Ven
Yeah.
over Romero.
I get that because
So-
you can't build a team around 2 center backs. I mean, maybe for
That's-
Arsenal,
yeah.
but you got a great center backs.
You have 2 center backs and a corner coach.
Exactly. My team's built around set piece coach Nicolas Joubert. All right, so I'm gonna go with, and this is gonna be a tough one, but I'm gonna go Saliba, Saka, and Odegaard.
Heard.
Okay,
I would Rice would be right behind there, but I
I
think
was gonna ask.
Odegaard is instrumental. Saka is obviously a star boy, and Saliba is going to be one of the best center backs in the world, I think, in the future. So that has to
I
be
like
my
that.
3. Yeah.
Well,
not
for
if he
me-
keeps headbutting everybody.
Too soon.
Ooh.
Too soon.
It's not soon enough. For me, I'll go with Allison, Virgil van Dijk, and Mo Salah. Those 3.
Oh, so you're building around experience.
Yeah, and when we had Allison and Virgil van Dijk come in, the team changed from mid-table to title winners, and I just think those 3 players, they would be great experience-wise, and like we said, if it's not about age, they're in their prime. That's a good foundation to go off of. Experience, leadership.
Well, I meant age, as in they're not going to be older when this restart happens. But
Still, Salah is 32, and he's putting up better numbers than he's done when he was younger. Allison, goalkeepers, they can go until.
So you must be really hoping to get these contracts signed, huh? Because two of your choices right now are free agents.
Yeah. And Virgil van Dijk, yeah. But then again, I like Trent, but he's not a defender for me. Virgil van Dijk's a defender, he's a leader, and I would think that's something when you want to lean towards. Like, again, he even said he got like 4 more good years. Defenders, they last longer than forwards. I just think that's who I would rebuild off of.
Okay. I mean, like it's funny because I didn't say Son, and I feel like Son fits the kind of what you molded your 3 choices out of. But that kind of goes back to the conversation we had earlier where he's
showing his age.
Yeah. It's not that he's showing. Yeah, he's showing his age.
I mean, we say it like it's a bad thing. I mean, people they can still be putting up numbers, on the
right. But his best attributes,
production.
Yeah, it's affecting that. His speed is something that he really relies on, and that's something. I mean, like I said, he has it in short. If he's playing all 90 minutes, it's not the greatest. But if you put him in for the last, 40, 30 minutes, then you'll get a good bit of production.
Yeah. I just still remember that run that Son did where he had from the ball from his half and he ran it up, taking out like the whole team and scoring it on his own. Just that
was against West Ham, right?
Yep.
And it's just like that's not that Son anymore. Maybe for like you said for the last 10 minutes or so, but not for the full 90. But it happens to everyone. Okay. That's the thing.
It was a good question. I like that one.
2025, first episode of 2025, and guess what episode number this is?
25.
25. Yep.
Nice.
25 episodes. All right. Hey, that's the first all right of 2025. Thank you for listening to episode 25. Thank you for joining us this year. Hope you had a great New Year's, and I hope you all have your resolutions set for this year and you accomplish them all. Mine would be that I want to see the Spurs win every single game for the rest of the year. Hopefully they can keep that true. Follow us on Instagram, Bridals on the Pitch. Like our content. Share us with a friend. Let us know who you want your team to sign. Who are you looking forward to signing? This is January transfer window. Yeah, I'm Alan.
I'm Pat.
And I'm Randy. All right.
Bye.
See you. And you're the realest, Alan. Oh no, edit that out.